Steve, you think you can get out the door before T-Rex? You're gonna have to run out pretty quick. No, nobody can get out the door before T-Rex. TK, very late. 74 degrees at 10:05. August 19th, the anniversary of Hurricane Bob. We've got the full moon today. And the accurate forecast is for thunderstorms. I'm at the point where I'm afraid to even look at the radar. Hey, Mitt, you can watch from your perch over here. Okay, we're going outside and check out the state of the weather. All we can really do is tell you what's happening right this minute. And right this minute, we have some breaks of blue sky. It's definitely warmer and more humid, but the air still has a component from the east. As I've said a bunch of times, I get no joy in reporting weather disasters, and that's what we have again today. Dozens, if not hundreds, of roads washed out in mostly Connecticut and also New York, especially Long Island, from an unprecedented, unforecast rainstorm that occurred in the last 24 hours. It defies explanation. It confounded meteorologists and emergency management crews, and all we could do was go into action as quickly as possible. Watching X last evening was horrifying, really, and I really appreciate the efforts of people like NYC Storm Chaser posting updates by the minute with rainfall amounts, and he put this radar sequence together of the event that occurred beginning about when we went out the door yesterday morning. We talked about how flash flooding was going to happen to somebody just based on the HRRR printing out near a half a foot of rain. And it happened first in Connecticut during the late morning, afternoon, and evening, and then over Long Island last night. Two separate bullseyes of more than a half a foot of rain. And the efforts of the news crews, Brittany, yesterday in Oxford, Connecticut, showing this rescue. How scary is that? And also a few minutes later with a wider shot at this Brookside of the Little River in Oxford, Connecticut. Cars swept away up against the trees. And the same car we saw on the grass, in the water at this point. She mentioned that 2 people got swept away. I'm not sure the outcome on that. Just got stung by a bee again. I just can't win. It's the vibe, isn't it? It's the vibe. I'm going to finish this out with a fresh bee sting. Yay, that's what I get. Barefoot. Jimmy Buffett went barefoot on stage at all his concerts. He passed away from cancer. Bee stings don't do that, do they? I'm the barefoot kind of guy. Grin and bear it. And continue on with trying to understand what happened. I think that one of the things that we underestimated was the high pressure system that came in with the cool air the last several days. Here's the map before the sun came up yesterday morning. You see the 1021 high pressure system over Nova Scotia. This is north of Hurricane Ernesto. And we mentioned for several days, well, with Ernesto and that high pressure system, it tries to cause air to come in from the east and the northeast, which it did yesterday here in most of southern New England. But with a low pressure system off to the west in Michigan and Ontario, that tries to get the air to come in from the south and southwest. So that created a very subtle surface convergence near New York City yesterday. Light wind, almost non-existent at the surface over eastern Pennsylvania and New York, but from the east here, from Boston down through Long Island. And then up in the sky over the top of that, the wind had to go way up. If I went to 500 millibars, 18,000 feet, it was about 30 knots. So you have a strong wind over a light wind. That's going to create lift and suction aloft. And then if you go up even farther, all the way up to 35 to 40,000 feet at 300 millibars, the air from the southwest was going about 65 knots. And note that north of that air going 65 knots and south of that air going 65 knots, there was very little wind. So that creates a suction into that zone aloft. Just think of it as the water coming from a very wide portion of the stream into a narrow portion of the stream, and it accelerates. And that acceleration of air aloft creates lift. With the surface convergence, the lift caused these training showers and thunderstorms that happened in two places. First, southwestern Connecticut, and then Long Island last night near Stony Brook, outdoing the remnant of Hurricane Ida with rainfall rates over 5 inches per hour for several hours. Many roads washed out in both of these locations, two bullseyes last night. There's one weather underground station in Oxford. Dennis Miller pointed this out on Twitter this morning, X now, it's X, that it reported more than 17 inches of rain at this weather station. Now, of course, we can't check all the data. Every station would take forever, but the general consensus on this is that it was about a 1 in 1,000 year type return on a rainstorm. Again, how many times have we seen that? And amounts over 10 inches at reputable gauges. I'm at the point where I'm even afraid to even look at the radar this morning. Let's start with a satellite image that shows a hurricane off to the east, convection. Yeah, Ernesto's a hurricane again, back to 85 miles an hour, defying forecasts from several days ago. And the convection over Buzzards Bay, and then also more convection over New York. And like I said, I'm at the point where I'm almost afraid to look at the radar. I looked at the radar just before coming out at 10 o'clock this morning, and look at those showers and thunderstorms developing just south of Martha's Vineyard. And I'm just wary of anything, especially when you see red and orange. And again, we have upper level flow strong enough for training showers and thunderstorms. The Severe Storm Prediction Center has us in a marginal risk for severe weather. Show the Boston 5-day meteogram from the Euro. And this afternoon, temperature close to 80. The wind's supposed to come around from the southwest, and we've got that triangle with the exclamation point in it, thunderstorm coming through this afternoon sometime between 3 and 6 o'clock. That means there's a potential for a severe thunderstorm just about anywhere. And then the forecast for Boston gets better anyway. Tomorrow, decreasing clouds, chance of a shower, and then Wednesday and Thursday look really good. But wait till you see how the changes in Wednesday and Thursday have evolved, especially for northern New England. Alarming. But let's go to the HRRR for today. Can we get away without any flash flooding? Supposedly, the showers and storms today are more progressive, not sitting over one spot. Maybe a few of us get a shower and then another shower and then another thunderstorm, but for the most part, elements moving from southwest to northeast and the whole line moving toward the east. And the total QPF out of this is greatest just west of Lake Winnipesaukee in the order of 2 to 3 inches, which is much better than 5 to 6 inches of yesterday. But yesterday we were at, 30% of what actually happened. So today's at 30% of what actually happens. If we use that logic, somebody gets 5 or 6 inches of rain today. And it's, again, we can only just call the play-by-play on this. It's nowcasting. Intermission. Steve got out last night after I had put him away, and they went right up, and Steve and Mitt opened the slider and went back out, and I was chasing them around until about 10 p.m. T-Rex, eager to go back in, not sure why. And yesterday, while I was surfing, I didn't have any idea how bad the weather was over Connecticut. I mean, I had some idea. And so anyhow, my friends that I went surfing with, Amy and Jimmy and Laura and Carol and Barry and Ross, I told them I was going to do a surf cast, but I've been consumed by the weather. And so I haven't got to the surf cast, but today is day 3 of the Ernesto swell. Rick Barber in Agunquit, Maine, got a nice side shot this morning of the swell. I looked at the northeast surf cam. This is a little swell. It looks like about 3 foot, 11 seconds. So I may see you guys down the beach again this afternoon if I can break myself away from the weather and the editing. All right, now back to the weather. Today and tomorrow, we're now casting, And I've been talking about how Wednesday and Thursday were supposed to be dry days, but I didn't really trust it. So here comes the play-by-play of the forecast maps featuring the ECMWF at pivotalweather.com. That's the Euro online, showing the showers and thunderstorms coming through here today. About 1,004 millibar low, and that comes through. There's less of a convergence near the ground and less wind up in the sky. Well, not really, actually. Hoping that we're going to get away with no flooding and no severe today, but you know that's not going to happen. And then here comes the high pressure system over southeastern Canada, but slow it down, stop it. Wednesday afternoon, come on. There's a 1025 high to our west, but right over New England, all of a sudden, underneath that upper level low, which we've been suspect of for what, 4 or 5 days now? We've been like, yeah, sure, it's going to be dry Wednesday. That's now a 1012 surface low underneath an upper level low pressure system. That's instability with instability and surface convergence and showers and thunderstorms. But the problem is once you're under the center of the upper level low, like Lyndonville a few weeks ago, the showers and storms do not move. They just sit in one spot because it's a cool pool aloft, just going in circles like a rotary in the sky, and those showers can be underneath the center of the rotary and they can be drenching. And who needs another stalled thunderstorm over the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont? That's Wednesday. Relax, Tim. It might not happen. And by the way, 546, that's almost cold enough for snow. I mean, the temperature on Mount Washington could get into the 30s, and we may end up with a coating of white, probably not snow, but grapple or hail on Mount Washington and Mount Mansfield Wednesday into Thursday. Oh, wow, this feels really good right now. That's it. I quit. I'm done. No, I'm kidding. Waves. Got to watch the waves. Can you hear them? You probably can't hear them with my noise-canceling microphone. Hazards of TK audio. Put the maps back in motion. We're getting to it. Fresh air fanatic towards Sunday. That upper level low is moving out slowly. More showers and thunderstorms possible, decaying Thursday into Friday. And now it does look like we start to get into the high pressure system. And the weekend is looking quite nice at this point. We will stop it again for you and your wedding. I love doing this. We watch how the forecast changes. This is now, we did it on day 10, 9, 8, 7. Now it's, day 5 you're getting married, day 6 on Sunday at 2 o'clock on Long Island. The high pressure system now looks closer to Long Island. Very few isobars. The 564 thickness is well to the north. The 570 thickness is well to the south. I like that lack of gradient with much less of a boundary showing up. It looks dry for all the Northeast, and I'm going to stick with partly to mostly sunny and 83 degrees with light winds, slightly cooler if you're on the coast. And oh, I hope your venue survived this last storm. And then we'll go beyond Fresh Air's wedding, forward. It looks like that storm going across Canada is not quite a storm, but it is strong, but it's still a storm track across central Canada, and nice warm to hot, maybe, air coming back in here to close out August and start September and Labor Day weekend. And way out there on day 10, we'll freeze day 10. What's that? Wednesday, the 26th, I think. And the 576 is right over us. 576 thickness means temperatures could be near 90 if you get a land breeze. And if this verifies, the reason I love showing you the 10-day and then what it looks like the next day, 9, and then 8, and then 7, then 6, then 5, is because we can see how it changes. And the forecast is always changing. Right now, my air is from the east and the northeast on the flag. Upper level wind is from the south, so we have convergence all around. Oh, I didn't show this morning's surface map. Very interesting that there's a hurricane on the right, 3 fronts over New England, convergence, convergence, convergence. Any boundary causes uplift and showers and thunderstorms are likely. And then in the upper left there, that's 37 degrees this morning as the sun came up in Ontario, north of Lake Superior. The clashing of the seasons. I'm not sure when I'm going to get that surf cast out. I want to join you on the beach again, but I have a surf cast I owe you. More of just seeing what happened at the beach yesterday. It was kind of chilly, but surf cleaned up nicely. And so I'll leave you a little snippets of that. And I can't remember. Of course, we can do a time lapse and some piano music to close it out at the end. Where was I? Oh yeah, Mitt and Steve had been outside, and Mitt was laying right under his favorite spot. And I'm sure Mitt's watching from the door right this second, so the weather part's over, and more is coming, and there's Mitt. Get Mitt in to close this part, and tomorrow. Talk to you later. 2 o'clock, 70 degrees, 72. And some fat raindrops falling from the sky here in North Weymouth. It's no way we're gonna get that 4.8 hours of sunshine that the Euro model had forecast. We do have an outgoing tide and a 2-foot swell now at 15 seconds. So why don't we get in the water? Light rain here compared to what's happening in Connecticut. Oh my goodness, more than 5 inches of rain, southwestern Connecticut. Now I know the HRRR had that, but it had it over a 36-hour period, not from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. A lot of times, after a summer shower goes by, the updraft turns into a downdraft and the sun comes out. Well, it's trying a little bit, but this is more than a summer shower. Been included low pressure system over New York and clash of air masses. But there's no problem parking. Plenty of space. I think this is DCR, which I think means it's the state. $16 to park here. Nobody's sitting there, but I bet they're still charging somehow. And there are lifeguards. Live music at Red Parrot. Not your average summer afternoon though. These spots are always free right here. Well, I think during COVID they coned them off. Those are pretty much full. I like going down the end. Very tiny waves out there, I see them. Chris Orlando bench. What do we got? We got a rail that's blocking the view. That's what we got. Call it knee high. And you know the gulls point into the wind and they're pointed towards the east. Gulls point into the wind and they're pointed toward the east-southeast. Very light though. Tiny Ernesto swell has wrapped the cape, as they say. It was a little chilly, but pretty nice. Did you enjoy yourself today?
Yeah, it was good. I got thrown around a little bit. I'm newer to surfing, but I still made it probably about 90 minutes, so I'm happy with my session today.
I learned to surf after the age of 40. And
Me too. I was 48 was my first time out, so.
So you're never too old.
I'll be 50 next week.
Oh, I didn't even actually want to go there, but what's your name? Where you're from?
Amy. I live in Plymouth. I actually used to live in Hull for about 8 years, a bunch of years ago, right out of college, so post-surf.
Yeah, you guys made fun of me because I didn't really wear enough today. My little shorty.
The water's warm though, right?
Yeah.
67, not bad.
67 there, 68. That's 135 degrees if you add it all up.
Yeah, there you go, yep. Mm-hmm.
That's how I do it. He's like, give me the eyeball, sorry. I was just admiring that you're going out there without any kind of wetsuit or even a rash guard.
Right.
We were only 4 hours and 8 minutes short of that forecast of 4 hours and 8 minutes of sunshine by the Euro today. Sunday fun day for the family. Doesn't matter what the weather is, the kids love the beach. And speaking of families having fun together, so fun to watch the Alba family in Pisa, Italy at the Leaning Tower of Pizza? No, Pisa, Ray. I know you were just having fun with that. But you made me think of Leonardo of Pisa, the year 1200 mathematician, came up with the Fibonacci sequence of 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 5 is 13,
13 plus 8 is 21. And so on and so on. It's the spiral that exists in all of nature. In every wave, I see a spiral. It's all mathematics, describing the motion of gravity. Everything fascinates me. Water flowing downhill. People riding gravity waves. All waves are a result of gravity for the most part. All right, is that enough for today? How about some sky waves? There was no sunshine today. They said there would be sunshine. Doesn't matter. Go surfing anyway. It's what's for dinner. What was that? Clam? Quahog? It's like T-Rex trying to keep the food away from it. It's done. It's an empty shell now. You ever feel like you're being followed? It's empty. You gonna put that shell in your driveway like I do? Get to the last drop. Great colors. That's a yearling gull. I don't know what kind of gull. Maybe a herring gull. More and more and more. By the way, it's raining again. Maybe somebody's getting a rainbow, but we have had 0 hours of sunshine. I don't even think we had 1 minute. Now it's 5:30. Getting in the car to leave, and guess what happens? The sun's coming out. A little less smoky. Blue sky for a nice evening in the garden. Yeah, that's where I'm going, the garden. Nice althocumulus. And just back from the ocean, look at this lineup. We got Steve, we got T-Rex, and Mitt is here. You want to go out the door, T-Rex? Yeah, he did a cyclonic spin there. So I didn't make any videos. The sun came out for a few minutes at Hull, and the surf really cleaned up, and it was really good. But I was chatting, and and then I went to the restaurant. It was kind of cold in my salty clothing, but it ended up pretty nice today, albeit on the chilly side, surf-wise. And now I'm going to do a little gardening, and I'll leave you with the time lapse of today. Rather disappointing. Didn't even get close to that 4.8 hours of sunshine that the Euro had forecast, and the HRRR, even though it had more than 5 inches of rain in Connecticut, that was for supposed to be 2 days, was underdone. So another disastrous rain, not really having to do with an upper level low as much as just a secluded low that's been moving so slowly over the Midwest. Speaking of moving slowly, that's Mitt's MO. Mitt's a slow mover, but I know where he's going. Over to the cat, Mitt. So we'll leave you with a time lapse of our sky and Mitt going over to the cat, Mitt. Or not. All right. And more from our Not in a Hurry Sunday and our Not in a Hurry cat. Full moon, August 19th, the anniversary of Hurricane Bob.